Voiceover. I'm your host, Heather Bigley, and I talk to people about the movies that made a mark, that led to cinematic epiphanies. And it's not always the movie you'd expect. Today, we're discussing The Outsiders from 1983, directed by Francis Ford Coppola and based on the YA young adult novel by S.E. Hinton. The novel and the movie were in extensive use in middle school English curriculums in the 1980s and 1990s. And even today, I see the novel and others by S.E. Hinton, like Rumblefish or Tex, on recommended lists for teachers working with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. The book is about Ponyboy and his friends. They're white working-class greasers who battle for respect against middle-class Socs in Tulsa, Oklahoma. These two gangs are going to face off, and as often is the case, violence and tragedy follow. It's really interesting to me how, for this audience, this young audience, the movie handles that violence and tragedy. My guest today is the Kaleigh Cohen. She calls herself a cycling and strength coach, but I think of her as my personal trainer. She's built this wonderful online community on YouTube that I love called Kaleigh Cohen Strength. She's fun, engaging, and her videos are usually under 30 minutes, which is perfect for me. In fact, you can find me and my husband on an evening working outdoor videos. Just last night, we did the 30-minute lower body power strength training because you should never skip leg day. We're going to talk about all kinds of spoilers in this conversation, but I'm assuming you saw this movie in 6th grade like the rest of America, so, handle it. And stick around after the convo for more movie recommendations.
So we had to read it in school. We read the book Outsiders. And one thing I remember too, and that I thought about after this, is the one reason that I really did enjoy, or I guess something that was really interesting to me when I read the book was S.E. Hinton is actually a female. And back then it was not very common, especially with this type of reading material, or like the genre that it was in, was not typical of women to write anyway. So that's why she did not use her name, which I can't remember. I feel like it was like Susan,
right?
Something, but so anyway, so that was another reason why I was like, this is a great book. But yes, we had to read it in 7th or 8th grade. And after we read it, then we watched the movie. But I got done reading it so quickly that, yes, I read a few of her other books. And there's another one that's also a movie, Rumblefish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. And then it just snowballed into some crazy time of my life where I was like, get home from school, eat my cereal, watch Outsiders, and just relax, I guess.
Yeah.
That was
Well, and, I remember when I was that age, it was get home from school, hike over to somebody's house who had MTV, like watching what is going on. So I feel like you had actually probably a better after school routine than I did.
Oh, that's funny. I think I was trying to remember why I was not watching MTV. And yeah, it was probably just because I was watching The Outsiders, but MTV was definitely the thing. So I guess maybe even in myself, I've always been a bit of an outsider, which also kind of, when I thought about it afterwards, I was like, maybe that is why I was always drawn to this movie, because I could see myself fitting into The Outsiders as opposed to the Socs.
Yeah. So the groups that we have here are the greasers, who are sort of like working class, mostly boys. We don't see any girl greasers, to be honest.
No, we don't.
We have all these working class guys who are kind of hanging out, and they live on the wrong side of the tracks. And then we have the Socs. And we say that they're middle class, but like, Diane Lane's character has a stingray. Like that, to me.
Yeah, not so middle class, at least not now, at least.
That's a lot of money. Like her parents handed her the keys to an amazing sports car. So those are the two groups. Why did you feel like you fit in with the Outsiders or those greasers?
I don't know. I guess that I just feel like I was always more quiet and shy, and which I know always seems weird when people see me on camera doing the workouts, because I am perky. But I guess I just always kind of felt like I had friends, but I wouldn't ever say I was in the popular crowd.
Sure.
Which when I looked at that movie, the Socs were the popular kids, and the Greasers were the ones that kind of faced the struggles, had, you know, opposition coming against them. And so I guess that's kind of where I saw myself.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, too, that this movie is all about male friendship, with a little bit of like, what would it be like to get to know a girl? You know, like there's this kind of, you know, plot that comes back with Pony Boy, who's our main character. He has a crush on Cherry. He has sort of rescued her from his friend Dally, like, who's been completely obnoxious and rude. And then he notices that, like, oh, she trusts me and she likes that I'm nice, but she's not necessarily interested. And he kind of watches, you know, from outside these other boys get her attention. So you're a young woman, but this is speaking to you for some reason.
It was. Even though they were on the outside, they were still authentic and true to themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of where I kind of saw I would be way too uncomfortable if I tried to fit in. It just would not be me. And so I feel like in a way that's kind of where I saw them. Yeah. But there was just so much that they overcame. Not all of them.
Right.
But at least with Pony Boy, who I would say is the main character in the movie, really did overcome a lot of adversity.
Yeah. His parents die in this car crash. We get this flashback to sort of a picnic maybe that the parents are doing with them, sort of a happier time. But there's this tension now with his older brother, who's played by Patrick Swayze, who's in fine form in this film. And there's like, he has this line where he says,
"He can't stand me. I bet he wishes he could stick me in some boys' home or something, and Soda won't let him." Because
his brother's playing the disciplinarian, right? Feels like he needs to do that for him. But by the middle of the movie, like, we just see that, yeah, Patrick Swayze's character just cares and just he's trying to figure out how to love his brother in the best way that's going to, like, set him up for life, right? And that to me was really touching. Like, he wasn't like this cruel disciplinarian who was going to beat his brother up. Like, once he realized that wasn't going to work with his brother, he like shifted tactics and was like, oh, I just have to love him, you know?
Yes. How he was doing his dancing moves even in the middle of their fight, the fight scene. And but that is very sweet. He did have that tender side to him. And I think there was a lot of different emotion, and you saw so many different characters in that movie, which to me really brought it to life. Like, it wasn't just one layer of, like, there were so many different aspects coming in that movie, that a lot of side stories too, that some of them didn't close off the way that I would have wanted them to, but others did really have that happy ending. And yeah, some not so happy.
Yeah, so we should say the outsiders or the greasers are all played by massive stars today, right? At the time, they were like 15, 16 years old. But we have like Tom Cruise, who notably in one scene is like stuffing cake into his face, and he's got it like all smeared all over him.
It's everywhere, yes.
And I have a whole list of all these folks. We had Emilio Estevez, Sofia Coppola shows up. I don't know if you realize, but she plays this little girl who comes in and says, "Do you have a dime?" We have C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio, and Matt Dillon as sort of the three main characters. So all these different boys showing up with all different connections to Pony Boy and his brothers. And we just see that there's like just all this personality, right? Like vying for attention and expression and relationship.
Yes. I love that aspect of it, because it was really cool to see how they were all different, but they meshed so well together. And just learning their place in this greaser culture was also just a fun add-on to the entire story as a whole.
Yeah. And just the rambunctiousness, like we're all gonna
that was just too fun.
rush into your house and like steal your cake and like bother you, and everybody's talking at the same time, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you have room for it, I feel like if I had seen this when I was that age, being who I was at the time, I would have been really uncomfortable. Like, are they going to get in trouble? Are they going to, like, there's too much tension, there's too much conflict. Like, because when I was young, like, there was a lot of chaos in my own house, and just need things to be calm, you know?
Yes, I totally get what you're saying. I don't know. I guess maybe because I was, and I will say this because people have called me this before, a goody two-shoes, that it was almost like a side that I could see that I didn't know much of my own life. So I could watch it through the movie and almost live through the movie.
Oh, nice.
as far as that goes. So I guess that's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
And I mean, just with all of that said, just that most of them ended up on the right path at the end, which was a celebration in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So one of the things that really shocked me about watching this movie was there's a huge violent moment, right? The Socs and the Outsiders come up against each other. The Socs start drowning Pony Boy in a fountain. Ralph Macchio, his friend Johnny Cade, is looking on and is like traumatized and doesn't know what to do. And come to find out, he kills one of the Socs, right? And then the boys have to go into hiding. And I was like, my jaw was on the floor. Like, wait a minute. This is a movie for kids. So talk to me about that violence when you were originally watching it and now as you watch it as an adult and as a mother of sons. What
yes.
Like, how have you changed about, or what is your thinking about that?
Yeah, that didn't even, when I watched it, you know, the first few thousand times, I didn't even recognize, like, that didn't even faze me. I don't know why. It was like I was too caught up with the other scenes. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew that happened, but I think I was already looking forward in the story, like, what are they going to do next? So when I first watched it, like, that was not what stuck out to me. There were, like, the fire scene, that stuck out to me. The ending with Matt Dillon, like, what is going on? All of that stuck out. But now when I watch it, yes, I'm gonna hold off on the kids. I said I was letting my son read the book, and then I kind of a few months back, and then I was like, we're gonna hold off on this until you're a little bit older. Yeah. So it is shocking. I don't know if that would be in a children's movie nowadays. But it was. So again, I think that just because I was so caught up in the other stories going on, even though that was like the focal point, like that's where things really started to get going in the movie.
Right.
Yeah. When I watched it the first few times, it was like dramatic, but I was all worried about everything else.
And it's not graphic. That's important to say. Right? We see he has a knife in his hand, and then the rest of the perspective is from Johnny Boy under the water, and then there's like a slick of like blood that covers
the red that comes in.
Yes. And when I saw that, I was like, this is surreal. What is happening? And then, you know, they cut to there's a body on the ground, and you're like, oh heck.
Right. I know. It's more like, what are we gonna do now? I guess that's where I was, like, knowing what was coming from the book, but
yeah.
So
it's more of a plot device to kind of get things moving. And the thing that gets moving is that these two boys, Pony Boy and Johnny, have that friend Dally who's older, who we've seen kind of introduced as a jerk, right? Like, he's
definitely
harassed Cherry, right? We also saw some scene where they're like kind of walking around and he like scares these little boys, like, who are like 7. Like, you know, he's just kind of been mean to people. But we have this moment, which I think is actually quite beautiful, where they go to him and they say, what can we do?
What do you guys want?
Well, Johnny killed the Socs.
What? All right, good for you. Let's go.
We figured you could get us out if anyone could, Dal. I'm sorry I got you away from this party and all, but I just don't know what to do, man.
I was just trying to get some sleep. I got in a fight with Shepard tonight. Wait a minute. Let me see what you can do about this mess. Get in. There you go. It's $50. Look, I'm not itching to be the one to tell your big brother about this and get my head kicked in, man.
Then don't tell him.
Here, it's $1. It's a little big on you, but it's dry. Come here. Get the 3:15 train to Windricksville. It's a freight. It's There's an abandoned church on top of Jay Mountain. There's a pump in the back, so you don't have to worry about water. Get a week's supply of food as soon as you get there this morning before the story gets out. And then don't so much as stick your noses out the door. Am I clear? I'll be up there as soon as I think everything's cool. Hey, relax, buddy. Come on. It'll work out. Right.
And he totally is like, here's some money, here's some clothes. I want you to take this train. I want you to get off at this place. I'm going to come find you. Like, he like takes charge of that situation and protects them. And I actually found it really moving.
Yeah, that he did. He stepped up when he needed to. And yeah, just to, not that we should cover up crimes or anything like that, but yes, in the movie, in the moment, he did. He stood up for them and took care of them. And well, tried to cover it up a little bit with the brothers to not tell them where he was,
right,
where they were at. And yeah, he would try to do the right things, but then he, in the end, would go a different direction.
Yeah. And that's kind of what is really, I think, human and authentic about his character, is that he has these opportunities and sometimes he takes them to be a good person and to do sort of what is morally beneficial. And then sometimes he doesn't care. So like you talked about that fire scene. That fire scene is really crucial. Like the three of them are driving around and they see this abandoned church on fire and they're going to go in and help these little kids who are trapped. And of course it's Pony Boy who's like, I'll do it. And he just runs in. And then we've got Johnny who's like, okay, all right, I'll do it too. And then we've got Dally who's like, oh, come on.
He was like, this is not happening. But he gives in and he goes too. But he is definitely the last one to be involved in that whole thing.
Yes. So like we just see this shifting in his character. Like, I kind of know what I should be doing. I'd rather do this other thing first. Or I enjoy having this power over people. I'm going to exploit that a little bit more. Or I can step up and I can help. And so I actually find him the most complex character in the whole story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I could see that. That is, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But you say you relate to Pony Boy. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, I like I like him. He always just, I mean, he had a hard go at it with his parents passing away and then being raised by he was the youngest of the three brothers and coming up against just, I guess, the whole, because even when he was out and about, it seemed like he was looked down on because he was a greaser as opposed to a soc. So always kind of had everything going against him, but he always tried to flip it to do what was right and to keep things positive. And I think that's why I liked it I liked him, his character.
Yeah.
Because he would, aim to do what was right even when it was hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's interesting is Dally is much older than him, but he's like being taught by Pony Boy. This is really how you treat women. This is really how you help people. This is what you should be doing. And Pony Boy is so lovely because he seems really relaxed and he knows who he is. And he's going to just be himself.
Yes. Yeah, that's just the authenticity where you can really be drawn into someone who is being authentic and they're not trying to maybe be rough and tough like Dally is, who's trying to cover something up. And then Johnny was just always very kind of shy and held back, probably because, I mean, there's that one quick scene of the reason that he doesn't go home is because you can hear his parents fighting.
I don't know, I might have. Where you headed?
I don't know, go play a little snooker, get rip-roaring drunk. I'll see you later.
Okay.
I hate when my folks are fighting. Let's go to the lot.
It seems like even in the midst of everything, that Pony Boy was still able to kind of let who he was show through all of that.
Yeah. And again, I have to go back to like him Johnny's going to go get groceries for them while they're in the hideout and he's going to pick up Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind.
Johnny, how'd you know I always wanted Gone with the Wind? Remember you saying something about it once? Me and you went to see that movie, remember? Thought maybe you could read it out loud, help kill time or something.
Thanks a lot, John.
And it just, to me, is like delightful that Pony Boy's just open about, yeah, that Gone with the Wind looks like a great book. I should read it, you know?
Yes, right.
And then
This
they
like
do.
rough and tough exterior.
Yes.
Yes, I know. It's so sweet. Yeah. So when they're hiding out, that's what they've got their breakfast supplies. They're changing their appearance with their haircuts and hair dye and all that. And then of course Gone with the Wind, because it's just that little like kind of like the icing on the cake. It's just a sweet moment in the movie.
Yeah. Which is going to come back to, you know, poor Johnny is going to get horribly burnt when they're trying to save the kids. And Pony Boy is going to be the one who says, we should go to the hospital. I'm going to read to him. And he's going to read to him more Gone with the Wind, right? Like,
Yeah, it's so sweet.
what a good friend.
I know. Yeah, it is, because it goes the song is Stay Gold, and I think that's they sing it at the beginning and at the end, and then at the, you know, when Johnny's in the hospital.
Yeah.
And it's like his last words.
Stay gold, Pony Boy. Stay gold.
I was like, that's what he is, gold. It's so sweet.
Yes. And this is another thing about Pony Boy is he like recites Robert Frost poems to his friends. Like,
Yeah.
Nothing gold can stay.
Huh?
Nature's first green is gold. Her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaves a flower. But only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf. So Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down today. Nothing gold can stay.
It's just he is very deep. It's probably a cliche way to say it, but there are just so many
deep,
different sides to him.
but comfortable with it. And he's not going to hide it. He's not going to think something's wrong with me. I'm not like the other guys. He's going to think, oh no, this is what I love, and this is what I connect to, and of course I would share that with my friends, right? Like I love that.
I love that too. That he can be, because that, I think that does kind of, even when I was younger, it kind of gave me some confidence to be like, you guys might think this is weird, but I still love it. And yeah, so even as a little kid, it was almost like a superhero.
Yeah.
In disguise of a greaser or something like that. And maybe that's why it wasn't ever like a let me overthink this, where sometimes we can get stuck in that like overthinking. As soon as you overthink something, of course it's going to be embarrassing, or you're going to think someone's going to judge you for that. Right. So just to go with it.
Yeah.
Right then, and not
this is what I think I should do, and I'll do it. Oh, and it turns out that it's good, and I'm the moral center of this movie, and everyone is learning from me.
Yes. He was almost like the leader, but not in the leader that you would kind of come to think of as who would be the leader. Right. Because of his age and, you know, being the youngest of the brothers and all of that. See, I love it. It's just so much, just unpeeling like the onion, just unpeeling the different layers that and I never even knew.
I was having a discussion with someone recently because she was telling me about her favorite movie, or not favorite, but really big movie for her was Now and Then. Do you remember this? Now and Then. It came out in 95, so you might be still too young for it. It's like four girls who are best friends, and kind of the summer that they were 12. And she was saying she didn't feel like anybody makes those movies anymore. And I was thinking about Outsiders, and I was like, I don't know that anybody makes these movies anymore. It's kind of a parallel, right? What's it like to be a young boy at 13, 14? Are there other movies? Can you think of a movie that's made today that would be like Outsiders?
If I can be totally honest with you, the last movie that I saw that was like a new movie was Luca in the movie theater with the kids. That was like, what, 4 years ago?
Right.
I really don't care for movies nowadays. They're just what you said. They're just like, it's just too much. I'm like, if I have 2 hours to spend, I'm probably not going to watch one of the new movies that come out. Yeah, I think that is like the superhero movies, those seem to always kind of have the same setting. So I feel like those are just universal. That's just how they'll be from back then to nowadays. But you're right. There's really no good movies that kind of teach you those life lessons.
Right.
Anymore. That's a really good conversation, a really good point. And that's probably why I don't watch them, because I'm like, this is just not what I'm just not into this. This is
right. I'm not a parent, but I taught film for a long time, and even though I was teaching at a university and I had students who were obviously watching rated R movies, I felt this real duty to like pick movies that were going to teach them something, but also weren't going to be like corruptive, right? Like there's plenty of film out there that is like highly regarded and is very effective, but also just a little corrosive on the soul, right?
Yeah.
And I felt this need to be like, okay, we're going to watch, and I'm not necessarily picking films with like happy endings, but we're just going to watch films that are a little more humane and are a little more interested in, even if we don't always do it right, doing better, you know?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I can't imagine what it would be like as a mom to have to like make those decisions for your kids.
Yeah. They rarely watch movies. Like if I've watched it when I was a kid,
yeah,
I will watch it. And even some of the newer ones, I'm like, what in the world was that doing in there? I didn't, you don't realize those things when you're a kid, and then all of a sudden there it comes up in a movie. But I mean, I think even on your part, even as adults, I think we really do need to be aware and intentional of what we are letting into our minds, because there are, scenes and thoughts that can just wear us down and we don't even realize where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And so I think it's our responsibility, to let listen, if you don't care, okay, that's fine. But I know for me that certain things can put me in a bad mood or unhappy or whatever it may be. And so even for myself and for my kids, it is important for us to make sure that they are not watching. I try to, if it's something that they said their friends have seen or whatever it might be, I'll try to do some research into it to make sure that it's going to be an okay movie for them to see. Because we talked about Minecraft last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they saw that, and even before. My Grams went to see it with them. And so, we always try to just make sure that it's going to lift them up and not tear them down.
You said The Outsiders, Forrest Gump, and Napoleon Dynamite were sort of your three favorites. And what struck me about those three movies is it's about outsiders who are comfortable with themselves and who have just kind of leaned into, I'm going to be myself no matter what. And Napoleon Dynamite is so funny to me because, there is that scene of Napoleon Dynamite dancing in front of the whole school so he can help Pedro win the election. Yes. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree, no, until I took a trip to the other side of town. I heard that boogie rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, dance. Nothing else I need to do about dance. I mean, today there are memes about how awesome that dance is, but at the time in the theater watching that movie, it was the most awkward dance in the world.
Oh, absolutely. It totally was. And it's so funny now how like TikTok and even that game, the Fortnite game, it's all about dances. I feel like Napoleon kind of set the tone for the dancing, but either way, like the dorky dancing. But either way, yes, that scene is a classic.
Yeah.
And to do that, that's what makes him so awesome, is that he did not care. He just wanted to help his friend, and he was like, I don't care, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it reminded me too was the other one, Nacho Libre. Nacho Libre and Napoleon Dynamite do kind of parallel each other.
Same
And I was
director.
like, how
Same
could I forget?
director.
Is it the same director? Okay, that explains it. Just he is a genius when it comes to making characters that are the underdog to come to.
Yeah. Who just have to like accept their quirkiness and let it shine, right?
Yes.
Like if I've never thought this before until this moment, but talking to you, I'm like, oh, so Jared Hess and his wife Jerusha were saying, we shall not put our light under a bushel. We're just gonna let it shine.
Exactly.
And we'll be
because we are. Oh my gosh, yes, I love that. That is that sums it up. That. Oh my word. I
wanted to ask you, and I just because I have watched all these videos where you kind of drop little tidbits about your life. You mentioned that you had done ice skating as a young person. So when I got your list of movies, I was like, there's no ice skating films on this.
That is true. There was one ice skating, and I feel like it was about a blind girl who was skating, and then she, I don't know, won some big. I know, I can't remember what that was called. The other one that would be Mighty Ducks, but that's hockey. But yes, I did. I figure skated for from 5 until probably 14. So
oh my gosh,
quite a long time, and I loved it. But you know, it's funny how you go through things you love them, and I mean that was like everything. I had practice probably 4 or 5 times a week, cross training on top of that, and then just kind of got into high school and started doing cheerleading, and it was just like then skating was just kind of no more. I know, it was like when I think back, I'm like, how did that happen? Because I loved it, and I still love it. I'll still watch it on TV and everything, but yeah, I was a figure skater.
Can I say props to your parents? Like, because I feel like I've taught, and I taught at the high school level, and there were kids who were doing like swimming. I'm going to swim, and my parents are completely in control of my life, and their goal is for me to just be the best swimmer. And it didn't seem like the kid had too much autonomy in that. It was just like, this is what I do. But your parents are like, oh, you like cheerleading? Great. Let's cheerlead. Yeah.
Thankfully they were. I mean, definitely they, now when I say that, and now that I have kids who are doing sports, they did. They saw that I loved it, and they just let me do it. I was definitely not the best, but they knew that I had a passion for it, and they let me do that. So now that I think about it, I'm like, I wish I would have been more like that in my own life to myself. Like they gave me the grace to go do what I wanted. And then when I was ready to change, they were, and they could see it in me. It wasn't like I was just, wanted to quit because something bad happened. It was like this had run its course, and I was moving on to something else.
I was in college when Mighty Ducks came out, and I literally went and saw it 3 times in the theater.
It was awesome. Because think about Queen, we are the champ. That was like that scene just plays in my mind. Like when anything good, like you're winning something, it's like we are the champion. They were so happy. Yes, I love that.
Yes, and sports movies just make me cry. Like they're just set up to go. You can achieve.
Yes, they so are, and I love that about it because it gives you like some hope if you're feeling like I can't do this, and then to watch those, you're like, wait a second, I can do anything I put my mind to. Look at the Mighty Ducks, the underdogs coming in for the win. Yeah, that's so funny. I love that movie.
So fun.
I love that you saw it 3 times. That's the best.
On my limited $400 a month budget, like
it was worth it, every penny.
Yes, exactly.
Ramen noodles for the month. Mighty Ducks 3 times. Yes. Yeah.
Actually, I was more of a frozen burrito kind of gal, but you know.
Oh yeah. We forget about the frozen burritos when it comes to, budget shopping and budget groceries. Yeah. Those are solid. You get a lot more protein in those. So I think those are the winner.
And then you would add just a little extra cheese. Anyway.
Yeah.
College living.
Oh, that's so funny.
Okay. Well, So is it a recommendation? Do you recommend this film to people?
The Outsiders?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If we get into that topic, yeah, The Outsiders is coming up.
Okay.
Probably now I'll say the four that I love: The Outsiders, Forrest Gump, Nacho Libre, and Napoleon Dynamite. Not in any particular order. All probably on the sharing the same first place level of favoriteness. Just the awkward, silly, whatever. I don't. How do you even label it? There's just so much going on there. Well, yes, I guess we probably do.
I would say joie de vivre, right? Like this joyousness of being awkward and like discovering that your awkwardness is your superpower. You know.
That is what? Say it again. Joie de vivre.
Joie de vivre.
Joie de vivre. So you speak French.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I am not going to have that beautiful accent like you did. I'm gonna say it in my joie de vivre
That's
way.
Perfect. That's the American way. You did it.
There we go. Okay. Oh, yay. I learned a new word.
Okay, good.
I got to use that. That's so fun.
Thanks to Kaleigh for talking to me about The Outsiders. We've had several guests now talk to us about movies that were really important to them as adolescents, like Now and Then and Remember the Titans. And I don't think we can overestimate how powerful these movies are for us that age, especially when we see them with our friends and we have a community where we can talk through them. That's one of the wonders about English or film or language arts classes when you're that age. You approach a common text and get to talk about it with each other. I don't think I appreciated that when I was a teenager, but I certainly sought after it once that experience was no longer readily available. Hey, I have a PhD, right? That's all I wanted to do for a while was sit in a room and talk about books and movies with people. So, what would I recommend? Well, first, we have covered coming-of-age films before, and they, in my opinion, are like the lifeblood of Hollywood. It's as if every young American director starts his or her career by examining what they just experienced. But it's not just Hollywood. One of my favorites from France is Les Skis from 2003, directed by Abtalif Kechiche. It's about a group of teenagers in what Americans might call the ghetto, outside of Paris, who are required to put on a class performance of an 18th century comedic play by Marivaux called Games of Love and Chance. And in fact, if you're looking for the movie in English, it's called Games of Love and Chance. These students are outsiders themselves, mostly French North African youth, and they're awkward and embarrassed by the play, which causes a lot of laughs, but they're also flirtatious and thoughtful and smart about each other. So most of the teenagers are non-professional actors, and this adds to the realism and warmth of the film. Another great film is Black Girl, and this is actually from 1966 by novelist and director Ousmane Sembène of Senegal. So he's not a youngster making a movie about himself. He's in fact making a film about a young girl hired by a French couple to leave her village in Senegal and work as their nanny in southern France. The stark black and white photography is really gorgeous when framing Dueña's hopeful beginnings, but then everything becomes much darker when she realizes she's been tricked by the couple into becoming their all-around drudge. Trapped, she can't think of any way out of the responsibility she has to her family in Dakar, nor how to right the power imbalance between her and the French couple. Yes, it's a parable about colonialism and neocolonialism, but it's also short and smart and painful about someone's lived experience. And lastly, I have to recommend something that I loved when I was in middle school, The Journey of Natty Gann, which was produced by the Walt Disney Company and released in 1985. It's about a girl in Depression-era America who sets out on her own from Chicago to reach her father in the lumber forests of Washington. I remember seeing the preview on TV. A young girl with a dog, hopping trains, occasionally duking it out with people who didn't take her seriously. It was like someone had read my heart back to me. The movie turned out to be pretty good, too. It's really thoughtful about the Depression and people's struggles to provide for their families, and it introduced us to Meredith Salinger, which I think is an overall win. Voiceover is produced by BYU Radio and edited by Spencer Boyer. I'm your host, Heather Bigley.